Hi everyone, Symphony Legato here, the internet's busiest music nerd. And it's time for a review of this new Sleep Token album, Take Me Back to Eden. Yep, newest full-length LP from UK rock outfit Sleep Token. Their third release, they have been consistently dropping albums at a pace of every few years since their debut in 2019. And maybe the most complimentary thing I can say about Sleep Token off the bat is that they are certainly a band that sounds like they are of the current era, with combinations of sounds and genres that I could only see being stirred together right now. As Sleep Token is known for this strain of alternative metal that incorporates elements of pop music, very heavy gent guitars, also even R&B on some of the vocal deliveries and chord progressions, and it's all assembled with a very punchy, high-gloss finish. Now, from what I've heard of Sleep Token stuff in the past, it couldn't be further away from something I would generally see myself enjoying, but I went into this thing because you never know. Could work its magic on me. But unfortunately, yeah, I'm not really into this record, and I will do my best to explain why. One, the performances and production. Usually I'm not a huge fan of records that sound so robotic and neatly assembled that there's little to no human touch to what I'm hearing. There's just something about numerous passages of this record that sound so artificial and aseptic, especially during some of the more ornate instrumental passages on this thing, like with the Cut the Summoning. It comes across as calculated and cold and uninviting, kind of like I'm hanging in a textureless, featureless room with lots of gray furniture around and some gentle music playing over loudspeakers to make me feel calm, when in reality I couldn't be anything but anxious because this feels like a prison. And considering a lot of the booming beats and over-the-top vocals and grand instrumentation laced into these tracks, what Sleep Token is doing on this record in the abstract is not that much different than what you might hear on an Imagine Dragons record, just obviously geared toward a more alternative audience. It's still just as overblown, and the sound of it is way bigger than the actual ideas it's getting across. There's not really a single track on this thing that I enjoy the sound of, truthfully. Even with attempts on this thing to go big and go epic, like on the song Are You Really Okay?, where all the rich and pretty instrumentation is piling on top of itself so chaotically because there's no real order of operations here. There's no foreground, there's no background, it's all loud as hell and kind of crumbling under the weight of itself and sounds horrid. I could really take or leave the heavier and more aggressive moments on this LP too. Take the whooping gent guitars on the opening track, which sound almost like a parody of the genre, and even spots in this track list like Vor leave me kind of cold, where we get the kind of dense and distorted metalcore bands like Converge are known for, but the riffs and rhythms are nowhere near as intense or interesting. Two, second major issue with this record is its genre combinations. I'm going to be straightforward about this one and say, obviously, even though there are lots of people who disagree and love this band and love this album, I just don't think pop-friendly metal, crushing prog riffs, flowery instrumental passages, and touches of R&B vocals are like the most compelling combination of styles, especially when Sleep Token is often borrowing from the most obvious and surface-level ingredients of each genre. I guess it would be one thing if this record sounded like Prince meets Meshuggah meets Faith No More, but what Take Me Back to Eden actually offers is like a top 40 randomized Frankenstein monster, masquerading as something deeper than it actually is, as the band presents itself as something very mysterious and anonymous, when the music in some cases couldn't be more plain as day and crude, like with the song The Apparition, where we get a lot of booming but bland guitars, sequence beats, ultra digital vocal effects that just kind of leave me feeling like, am I even listening to a person sing? Is this AI or something? There's also Do You Wish That You Loved Me, which is just kind of uninspired electropop at the end of the day. It's painfully on the nose with its rigid beats and vocal effects, making it sound like it's a robot trying to show emotion, asking questions like, can we hit delete, as the lyrics kind of deal in this romantic scenario that's full of regret and things that one wish they could take back. So yeah, I just feel like a lot of the different genre elements on this record come together in a very tacky way. I don't care for it, and I also don't care for the vocals. which are painfully melodramatic, over-enunciated, and processed to high heaven. It's like everything that's corny and unbearable about the singing that you might hear on an Evanescence record, but multiplied by 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. I guess on top of that, we also have the proggy song structures that I'm not all that into, which inherently I don't think is a bad thing. But when you're talking about vocals and production and songs that you don't really care for off the bat, the last thing that you want them to do is last 8 minutes. But I suppose that could easily be a positive for anyone who enjoys what Sleep Token is doing on this record. I think this album and its instrumentation are very neatly assembled. It's performed and groomed in such a way where everything is meant to sound kind of super clean and perfect. I suppose that is maybe the nicest thing I can say about it, because outside of that, I don't really get much out of this album. From the songs, to the lyrics, to the soundcraft, to the quirky, clashing genre combinations, to its overall lack of depth, despite the fact that the record very much seems to be convinced that it is hitting upon some profound stuff. Yeah, this Sleep Token record is just bland, it's boring, and it's frankly annoying to listen to. I'm feeling a light 2 on this one. Transition, have you given this record a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head, it's another video you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Sleep Token, forever.